All right, good evening, old school Texas Tech. I hope everyone is doing well. I've got my partner in crime. I'm in South America. I got my partner in crime in Dallas, the well-known Dallas real estate agent, Mr. Jordan Kennedy. How are you doing?
Hey, I'll take that intro. All good here, man. Just glad I'm not in Florida right now.
I'm oblivious. All I do is work.
There's a massive hurricane bearing down on Florida from the Gulf
Oh,
of Mexico. Yeah,
all right. I'll keep those folks in my thoughts and prayers. Yeah, all I do is work and try to keep spam off the Facebook group with not much success. We're working
that's a
on
that's a full-time job to keep the spam group. Good God.
I found my razor, but it's not. I'm not really using it very often. I also found the best beer in the. This is the best beer in the world. We need that. We need them to be. We need them to be our sponsor. But I don't
Whoa, whoa,
know.
whoa, 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 whoa! What kind of beer is that?
It's the Ecuadorian Club beer.
I find that here.
No, probably not. Maybe in New York or something.
Okay.
There's like some Ecuadorian communities up there. We might be able to find it. They have club in Colombia too. So if people have been to like Cartagena, they have it there too. But it's a different brew. It's not as good as the Ecuadorian brew. The
It
Ecuadorian
looks
brew is
delicious. I'll be honest with you. It looks
yeah,
delicious.
it is delicious. Maybe they'll be interested in some point in like getting into the American football game and branching out from soccer at some point like with that. Maybe they could be our sponsor.
Fingers crossed.
All right. So we've got. I'm going to give you a little update on the schedule. I mean, not the schedule, the record, the season predictions. We have played to the best of my mathematical abilities. We have played. There have been 52 games that we have predicted. You and I. You have correctly predicted 40 games. You have incorrectly predicted 12 games. I have correctly predicted 45 games. I have incorrectly predicted 7 games. But I actually will admit it, I think it's just pure luck. I really, it's really just pure luck at this point. And
It's
it's gonna get even
rigged.
harder.
It's
It's gonna get even
rigged.
harder. What'd you say?
It's rigged.
It's really, yeah, I already, man, I'm telling you, any kind of Facebook post, social media post right now about anything to do with the P word, the upcoming decision that the country is going to be making on November 5th, just
Ugh.
post at your own peril right now. You better not be thin-skinned.
You are
All right.
40, you're 45-7. That's not bad.
Isn't that pretty good?
I'd say that's pretty good. That's why I said it's rigged.
Okay, it probably is because really before this season, it had been years before I really watched that many college football games. I do keep up with LSU a little bit because my mother, and I actually keep up with North Texas because that's where my father went to school and I went to grad school there for a little while. And then I keep up with Notre Dame a little bit, but really it's pretty much Texas Tech for me. And so I'm a little surprised that I'm doing this well, but I know that one of these weeks I could be humbled really, really quickly, these games because they're not
Let's
easy.
hope.
And this week's lineup's not real easy either, honestly. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna let you go first, as is tradition here. The first game, and don't talk too much about it because we're going to do a separate video on it. But the first game listed, according to one of the app that I'm looking at, has Cincinnati at Texas Tech. It's a 7 p.m. kick. What do you think?
Texas Tech.
Okay, no further explanation needed. The next one is a very interesting game. Oklahoma State playing at Kansas State in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. Who do you got?
Interesting. Yeah, this is one I was kind of struggling with because they both are coming off a loss. I was going to say usually you don't want to be on the other end of a team after these two lose, but they both lost. I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and take, since they still have Alan Bowman, I'm going to take Kansas State because it's in the Little Apple, like you said, and I think they're both going to be pissed off after what happened. Although I think K State got beat up. They lost that one. That one blew me away, and I think that was one of the ones that I picked incorrectly. It was one of the ones I picked incorrectly
It was.
last week. I didn't see that
We
that
both got it wrong. We both got it wrong.
score. I would have never guessed in a million years. So I'm going to
I,
take
would- I
Kansas
wouldn't
State
have
to
either.
rebound at home.
I mean, I'm still learning the new teams from the pack, but and I knew Utah was going to be good, but to me, of the existing Big 12 schools, these are I mean, at least among the two best coach teams. They're definitely. I mean, these are elite coaches for both these schools, so it's going to be an interesting one. So you got K State in that one, right?
I'm gonna take K State only because still I would have gone with the home team on this one. Although I don't know, I haven't looked to see what their record. I'd be curious to know in the last 10 who's won what, but I don't know, and I've not looked at that.
The running back for Oklahoma State, Ollie, right? Ollie.
Ollie Gordon, I think is his name.
Yeah, except for when they played the lower tier team, he hasn't had over 50 yards rushing yet. That's stunning.
Interesting.
That's really stunning. Okay, so the next one, BYU at Baylor. BYU is actually ranked 22nd in the country, 22nd in the country now.
I have a buddy that took a trip to Vegas today. We were talking about games, and I said to him, "This is a quote. How the hell is Baylor favored by 3.5 against BYU? Take BYU
Down to 3, by the way.
3. I'm going BYU to me. Baylor. How Baylor loses that game to Colorado, I have no idea.
Okay. Another interesting one, and I'll be honest, the two private school games are the two hardest. Two private Texas private schools are the two hardest for me to predict this week. You just picked BYU. We have the other one now, TCU at Kansas.
Ooh, two teams that have underachieved this year, big time. Especially Kansas. Kansas is 1-3, right?
Kansas is 1-3. TCU is 2-2. And let's go ahead and mention, let's go ahead and mention if Baylor loses to BYU, how hot is Randa's seat at that point? I mean, he was almost terminated last year, right? I mean,
Okay, so let me put it to you in these terms. You look at the solar system and the planets, right? It's like Mercury or Venus level, which are the two closest to the sun. That's how hot his seat is.
and they got some tough games coming up.
Yeah, they literally snatched defeat from the jaws of victory against Colorado. How they allowed that Hail Mary touchdown to
Right.
I think that breaks your spirit.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually saw a pretty prominent national reporter on another podcast, and he said the mood around the TCU program right now is rough. But but so is Kansas, and Kansas is having to play at another stadium, their home games. So who do you have in this one? TCU, Kansas.
Where's that one being played at?
I believe it's being played at Arrowhead Stadium. I believe that they're playing where the Chiefs play.
I'm going to take Kansas in this one. Kansas has lost 3 very close games, from what I understand. Like they've been in the mix all the way till the very end. They've had a couple of heartbreaking losses. TCU hasn't been the same ever since the Georgia massacre.
Yeah, I always felt. I mean, and I admit it. I mean, I consider them one of our top 2 biggest rivals in the conference for sure. And I'm not a fan, but I actually remember I was doing some teaching and staying with one of our friends and we actually had that conversation the night that happened, and I think there's some real truth to that.
Yep.
So you have Kansas winning that game at Arrowhead?
I'm taking Kansas in that one. I am.
All right, this one's interesting. If I were in Vegas, your friend in Vegas, I don't know who it is, but your friend in Vegas, Central Florida is favored over Colorado by 2 touchdowns.
Wow, it's that much.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I remember looking at that thinking I would take Central Florida, but I thought it was like by a field goal. Like it's like a 34-31 type game.
And I don't know what I would do, but Colorado with 14 points is tempting.
Okay, so Central Florida is favored by 14, correct?
Yeah, they're favored by 14 as of right now.
I would take Central Florida just straight up, but 14 points is a lot. I would probably take Colorado to cover that. I see more like a 31-24, 31-27 type score, but I've been wrong before. But I think Central Florida is the better team, and I guarantee Central Florida is better on both lines of scrimmage.
And they're at home. They're at home.
Isn't Florida getting hammered by a hurricane right now?
Yeah, that could be an issue too, but they're in Orlando, so
Orlando's like middle of the state though. They're still, I don't know. I think I'd have to look at the map. I think it is going to miss Orlando, but I bet there's going to be some rainfall.
there definitely will be some rainfall, and I think Colorado's struggled with their running game quite a bit. From what I've seen, I've mainly watched the press conferences with Coach Sanders.
Colorado has got 4 players maybe, and it's their quarterback and those couple of receivers, and that's about it.
Okay. So you got Central Florida. We're not predicting. You're welcome to talk about it. We're not predicting on spreads. We're just predicting money line. So you've got Central Florida, right?
Central Florida, yep.
All right. This game shouldn't be hard for you to predict unless you've had maybe a couple too many beers or something. I don't know. Iowa State at Houston.
I'm on the point of never picking Houston ever again in a game because they've bit me, I think, 3 weeks in a row. I don't know why I keep picking them. Well, that's going to change this week because Iowa State is going to smoke them.
I've watched some of the other podcasts today, and there are people are like, if you've watched if you've watched Houston play this year, we apologize. I actually saw that on like 2 podcasts.
Donovan Smith, former Texas Tech quarterback there,
And
right?
he had some heroic moments with us, ironically, against them in that overtime, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All right, then the last one, Arizona, 2-1 Arizona at Utah. Utah seems, I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong, they seem to be the class of the conference right now.
Yeah, I would say Utah's the best. I mean, if you look at what they've done the last 15 years, they're consistently, in my opinion, one of those teams that can compete with almost anybody. So I would take Utah to win that one. And
Yeah,
I'm
it almost looks, no disrespect to BYU, and I know that's going to be, and they're going to play. That's going to be a great game, but no disrespect to BYU. But it seems like right now what we're looking at as a conference, that's trying to figure out who's going to play Utah in the Big 12 championship game, pretty much. So,
yep.
all right, so I'm going to take my run at it. We'll talk more about it, but I definitely have Tech beating Cincinnati. I'm going to take Kansas State to beat Oklahoma State. I'm gonna split with you here. I can't believe I'm gonna do this, but I'm actually gonna go with Baylor. I think Baylor, what do they say? Greatness is the orphan of urgency. If he loses that game, I mean, he could be fired right then, the way the college football landscape is with recruiting and everything. I just feel like they're gonna figure out a way to win at home. Vegas is, they can be Vegas can be pretty accurate sometimes. So I got Baylor winning that one. I'm going to go with you on Kansas, TCU. I'm going to take Kansas, and that will be an absolutely huge loss if TCU loses that game. That'll drop them to 2-3, and that will put them at that'll put them at 0-2 in the Big 12. Two losses in the Big 12, and that's going to be a pretty demoralized. Either team that loses that game is going to be demoralized. I mean, big time, right? If Kansas goes down to 1-4, or TCU goes down to 2-3 with 2 Big 12 losses, that's going to be pretty rough to come back from and have a great season with, right?
Totally agree.
I think Central Florida beat Colorado, but if I were in Vegas, I'd probably take Colorado in the points. I think Colorado put up a fight, yeah, I got Central Florida winning that game. I've got Iowa State beating Houston, and I've got Utah beating Arizona. The 2 games that are the hardest for me, I think it's the 2 Texas private schools, TCU and Baylor. Those are hard games to predict. I think either one of those games could go either way pretty easily, but that's what I've got. Anything you want to add?
No, I mean, this is a decent slate of games, but
Yeah,
only
it should be
really,
fun.
really matters, right?
We'll talk about it more in the next video, but I'm really, really happy that Tech got Cincinnati at night.
Same here.
All right. We'll keep track of the records. I'm going to post it all. We will have an updated I'll put the records in there, and we'll keep track of it as we go through the season. We appreciate everybody. Please, I should always say this at the beginning of the video, but I always forget. Please subscribe, like. If you want to say something negative, that's fine. Anything you want to post, go for it. We appreciate your feedback and support.